Hello, and welcome back to another presentation for EDU 6525. Today we're going to focus on secondary research, in particular, 3 skills you will need to use in your literature reviews: summarizing, paraphrasing, and using direct quotations of other experts in the field. We will begin by looking at primary and secondary research and the differences between them. Then we'll talk about how to use summaries, paraphrases, and direct quotations in research writing. We'll provide examples of each of these techniques, and in the process, we'll learn how to avoid plagiarism. Primary research is any type of research that you collect yourself. In fact, the action research projects and applied research projects that you will develop and carry out in our future coursework are perfect examples of primary research. It's research that you will conduct through the use perhaps of interviews, surveys, observations, or the use of new methodologies in your own classrooms. Secondary research is the analysis of research that was done by others. This is the type of research we are typically doing in our traditional research papers. It's also the type of research that is used in literature reviews, where the purpose is to analyze a great number of primary research studies in your field of interest. Once you have chosen your own broad research topic, the first thing you will do is what is called a literature review. This is an extensive examination and analysis of the other primary research that's already been done on your topic. In the process, you will want to use the expertise and the voices of other experts in this field. To do that, we frequently rely on the tactics of summary, paraphrase, and direct quotation. Research writers will frequently summarize the work of others. A summary is a condensing or condensation in your own words of the main ideas of a passage. It is frequently used to establish background on our topics or to give a broad overview of the source material. Because the summary condenses the original material, it is typically much shorter in length than the original text and includes only the main idea. A paraphrase is a restatement of a short text, a text that is usually only a couple of sentences in length. We might use a paraphrase to clarify a complex idea for our readers by putting the idea in our own words, or we might use an expert's idea but not want to lose our own voice, so we paraphrase. Because a paraphrase restates and does not shorten the original text, it is frequently about the same length as the original. We include the main idea and key supporting ideas. We might also include a phrase or limited words, of course in quotation marks, that are word for word from the original text. Finally, there will be times in your literature review where you will want to use direct quotations. This is the direct use of the original text word for word. Direct quotations can add power to your argument by using an expert's own words. You can highlight powerful phrases in the author's voice, and you can draw attention very specifically to other research that precedes your own. Direct quotations, of course, must be word for word and need to be set off in quotation marks. These should be used very sparingly. Less is more. Do not quote any more than you need in order to make your point. As researchers, we always need to do everything in our power to avoid plagiarism. That is, taking the ideas or words of others as our own. All borrowed material, whether summarized, paraphrased, or quoted, must be cited. These are borrowed ideas and words, and we must give the authors credit. We provide you now with examples of direct quotations, paraphrases, and summaries based on the following original text. Please take the time to read this short paragraph. When we use direct quotations, we attribute the author and the date of the publication, and we do this whenever possible before the borrowed material. In addition, with direct quotes, we include the page numbers of the quote if page numbers are provided. We also must quote accurately. Take the time to read this example of a paraphrase of our original text. You'll notice that the paraphrase is in our own words, but that it includes both the key idea and some supporting ideas of the original text. A summary is also in our own words, but it includes only the central idea of the original text. This next example looks like a paraphrase, but is in fact an example of plagiarism. Two main problems are apparent. Parts of sentences are used word for word from the original without being set in quotation marks, and there's no citation to give credit to the original author. Critically important, all borrowed material, whether summarized, paraphrased, or directly quoted, must be cited according to APA citation format. Otherwise, intended or not, use of those ideas results in plagiarism. In summary, in this video we've examined primary and secondary research. We've looked at how we can borrow material by summarizing, paraphrasing, and using direct quotations. In the process, we've discussed how we can avoid plagiarism. Additional valuable resources on these topics can be found at Owlet Purdue Online. Furthermore, the APA Handbook is an essential tool for you as you move forward as graduate students in your own research. We'll see you next time.